As I search for the white dove, I wonder if she searches for me. Or if my hopes of finding her are nothing more than an ill-conceived fantasy. You see...
Wait, before you go to the next question, I wasn't done answering the previous
Oh,
one.
my bad.
Yeah, and so...
Salutations, mortals, and welcome to From the Jump. I'm your host, Oaken, and today we have a very special guest. All the way in some island somewhere before the whole pandemic lockdown. Beauty, how are you doing? Please let these people know who you are, what you do, and why you're on From the Jump.
Hello, Nico. Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me. I think that this is an amazing thing that you're doing. It's always beautiful to see people shining a light on Namibian creatives or creatives anywhere in the world, especially us small timers. So my name is Beauty Boyce. I also go by Sage Smoke. That's my stage name. I am, where do I start? As a creative, I'm a poet. I've been a poet since I could write, since I was like, I don't know, how old are you when you learn to write? Like 7, 8?
7? Yeah, 7.
But like, okay, no, real talk, not since I could write, but like maybe since I was like 9 years old.
Yeah, that's basically since you could write.
Yeah. And then, I've been doing poetry, writing a lot. So I started off writing poetry, and then I ventured into spoken word when spoken word Namibia was booming. Oh, such a beautiful time. Yeah. What an era. And then I've since started kind of going into like flowetry, so combining my poetry with music and just exploring. I really consider myself to be an experimentalist, because I really like to, just like in my everyday life, I like to explore, I like to play around, I like to learn, I like to try different things and see what resonates with me.
Exactly.
So that's basically it. I'm also a writer, so obviously, like, yes, I write poetry, but like I write stories as well. I have a book coming out.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, you're almost a published author. You can't just say you're a writer. You gotta be like, yo, published, baby.
Yeah, so UNAM Press is my publisher, and they usually publish academic content, but I think I'm the first that's doing a purely fiction novel, and it's called Ngamku's Escape Theory. So watch out for that.
All right.
And I've actually already started working on my next 2 novels. So the creative juices have been flowing, and it's a beautiful space to be in.
Now that's what we love to see. Now, just to give people a little bit more insight into who you are. You have a degree in psychology, yes?
Correct.
And you have a degree in what's the other thing that you have that education?
Sorcery.
Okay, so what I was saying is, I love like the fact that you that amazement that we all had when we were kids, and that will to go out and explore and just be just jovial, fuck. I mean, like your spirit is just so fucking contagious. It's ridiculous. Like, where do you just to interrupt? Like, where do you reserve all of this from? And like, just still have all that amazement that
I honestly, I want to say that it's just there. It's just part of who I am. But at the same time, like, I also do a lot of things to cultivate that energy. Like, I'm, keeping your childlike sense of wonder, and I don't know, that energy that you were just talking about. It's not easy in this world. So I constantly have to like pour into myself. But like, I do want to say that I feel like we all have like an infinite well of that energy inside of us, but you need to tap into it. Like, that's how it dies. That's how you lose your inner child, when you allow it to die. But like, the more you play and explore and just do shit that kids do, obviously like in an adult way, the more you keep that energy and that spirit alive. So like that's all I do. And I mean, it's not even hard work, like it's fun. Like I play around, I have so much fun being with myself and like finding out, like being curious and finding out what is this, and I want to try this and I want to do that, you know what I mean? And I'm not gonna let anything stop me. Like if you've seen little kids like draw a picture, it can be the ugliest shit you've ever seen, but they come to you, they are proud. My son goes around trying to sell his drawings, his art for like 50 Namibian dollars and shit like that. And it's like, you look at it and it's like, $50 really? But like he believes in himself so much.
No
you know
doubt.
what I mean? And that's all we need to tap into is like the way you used to believe in yourself as a kid and in your art and the things that you create and the things that you put out into this world. And that's like the beautiful thing about like also being a mom now is like my son constantly reminds me that like he doesn't care, he doesn't give a fuck. If you like
straight.
his painting, his drawing,
He likes it, that's the point.
He likes it. So he's gonna promote it.
And you know, that's a hustler spirit right there if I've ever seen one. Like, you know, be like, yo, hold up, man. I know I'm a little kid, but like you about to part with some money for my artwork, homie. This shit ain't free. That's lovely.
100%.
So just going back to your qualifications, you know, like I said, you have a degree in psychology, but you also have a degree in, what's another thing? I don't know how to.
It's a TEFL certificate.
Well, yeah. So you basically qualified to teach people not only English and whatnot, but you also guide people through meditation work, which you've also gone and studied and gotten certifications for, right? Now, that intersection, right? This is my question for you. That intersection of psychology, like, you know, the whole studied and the scientific, what 1A, B, C, D, how it goes, to then going to the full-on spiritual, you know, how meditation helps you, you know, with your bond between soul, mind, body, all of that. Like, was there ever a conflict for you while doing both and like experiencing like this, or was it more of like like putting two things that shouldn't work together and all of a sudden it works? Like, can you talk to us about that?
So there have definitely been conflicts in terms of like my life as an academic, because you know somehow the norm is like you've got to choose. You know, you're always told like, this poetry thing is a hobby and you're gonna grow out of it, and you have to leave that shit behind now. You must stay at home, you must not study, you must go write exams. Why are you at spoken word? Why are you at auditions? You know, that type of thing. It's kind of frowned upon, and to be honest, I would die of boredom if I didn't have this range of shit and interest in my life. I do have ADHD, so I'm able to like bounce. My mind just bounces from one thing to the next. But it also takes a lot of effort to kind of like to be like, okay, now I'm sitting down and now I need to study. I have a test. I have an exam. I have an assignment that's due. I need to be able to like know when to prioritize what, but at the same time like pouring my all into all things that I choose for myself. And these are not things that were forced onto myself. I think I'm blessed and privileged enough to have been able to say, I want to study psychology, I want to study yoga, I want to learn how to teach English. And I want to study marketing, like all of that shit. Like I got to choose those things for myself. After like, you know, obviously like fighting with my very African parents. But I stood my ground and I got what I wanted ultimately. But like, yes, absolutely, there have been lots of conflicts. You know, studying psychology, and I've studied Western psychology.
Yes.
So a lot of the things I'm like, wait a minute now. Was this tested in the African context? Was this tested in the Black context? Do you know what I mean?
Agreed.
But then there are also aspects of psychology that go into that and explore that. You know, you have community psychology that explores things like Black consciousness, and it's beautiful to see that nowadays there is like this integration and this marriage between like spirituality and psychology. I actually lived in an ashram in India where I studied yoga psychology. So it was Western psychology and obviously Eastern yoga and Ayurveda.
That's wild.
Exactly. Exactly. And you can only discover that things like that exist when you are open, when you open your mind and your heart and like that energy that you were talking about, that childlike sense of wonder, to be able to say, maybe I can go live in an ashram for a little bit and see how these two things come together.
Yeah, no, definitely.
You know? Yeah.
And that's an adventurous spirit. That's a full-on adventurous spirit. And you know, by doing and not just thinking about it and saying, you know, oh man, it would be really cool if I could like, because I was always like, man, I'm gonna go to fucking Tibet, I'm gonna go to a monastery, I'm gonna go sit with a monk, bro, and we just go look at each other in the eyes, and I'm gonna be like, what up, bro? And I didn't go. When I was in China, I was like, man, that shit way too expensive. I'm going to Malaysia. Fuck this. You know what I mean? And as you said, excuse me, and as you said, like that sense of wonderment and like, I feel all of us have it in us, you know, and we stop ourselves from reaching it. We there's a point where we're like, oh man, I would love to, you know, like go jump on this jumping castle and like, I'm gonna go have fun and then all of a sudden the things come to your mind. But I'm a 33-year-old man. And I'm supposed to be, you know, all highty-toity, and I'm supposed to be bougie or whatever the fuck comes to people's minds.
Yeah.
Like, no, I can't be seen being so jovial and kid-like, you know, in front of all these other grown-ups. They're gonna think I'm immature and shit. Like all those thoughts start coming to mind, you know, and to you know, experience somebody that is like, no, fuck all that. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna go jump on the jumping castle, motherfucker. I'm gonna go enjoy my damn self, you know, like that sense of enjoyment and like. It's lovely to see. Is all I wanted to say. It's very lovely to see, and I hope you don't stop it.
Thank you.
You know, you're always shining positivity everywhere you go. It's like I don't even like it. It's like a well that like you don't you ever just get pissed? That's my question. Like, when do you just get like to a point where you like, you know what? Fuck all of you, man. I'm tired of y'all motherfuckers. Let just burn, niggas. Like,
try to come for me. Like try to come for me, and then you'll see that side of me. You know what I mean? Like that's it. Like I respect people, and I'm generally like in a good mood. I'm an optimist. And again, it's not just like that's the way I am. I do work to cultivate the shit, the yoga, the meditation, the affirmations, the journaling, all of that inner work is what results in me having that energy and that positivity and that love and respect and all of that. But like I said, try to come for me and you will see that side of me. And people have. There's people who've met me and from jump, like they said some shitty racist, backhand, sexist, homophobic shit at the table, and I will stop a whole fucking party. Go to the fucking DJ booth, cut the music, and check a bench real quick.
Yeah, no,
you know
address
what I
that
mean?
situation.
Yeah, so at the same time, you know, there's this beautiful mantra. I don't know who said it first, but it's like, do no harm, but take no shit.
And it was a black woman.
Like,
that was a black woman. That's straight up and down. A black woman said that shit, yo. It must have been that shit. That sounds like some shit we'd say. Be like, yo.
Exactly.
Just do no harm, my child. But don't take no shit off nobody.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I won't lie, I enjoy a good drag. I enjoy a good confrontation when shit isn't, when I know like you are now you are misbehaving. Now you're stepping out of line and I need to put you back in your place. So that you can know that I'm not here to be fucked with. You know what I mean?
I'm not here
to be fucked with. Exactly. I move with the energy of 1,000 strong ancestors. So I'm not here to be taken advantage of. And I'm not here to also allow things that I know are not okay. You know, it's not okay to speak in certain ways. It's not okay to say things that are emotionally traumatizing to other races, to you know, people of different sexual orientations and all of that stuff. So I will definitely check you. So that's when angry beauty comes out.
And I mean, I would guess a lot of people do try to test you because of all that positivity that you're always exuding. They're like, man, she ain't gonna do nothing, you know, she must positivity. Next thing they know, they're like, oh shit, she's damara, bro. I'm in trouble. Now, let's talk a bit about the fact that you just decided to up and leave just before the pandemic went, and then you couldn't get home, and then like all this crazy shit. Like, just talk to us a bit about your experience of being stuck in Cambodia, but not really stuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, so I've been wanting to make a big move for a really long time, but and like you were explaining before, sometimes like fear of the unknown, fear of like, oh, what are people gonna say? All of those things kind of held me back for a while, and I had to sacrifice a lot to be here. Because I wanted to be here. I did want to be here, but like it also costs a lot of money to relocate.
Yes.
So I am stuck, but like I'm stuck where I planned to be stuck, because I was planning on relocating, but now so things just like my plans have just been like altered in like major ways. I've had to rethink, re-strategize, everything, because I can't do what I came here to do because of the pandemic. But at the same time, it's like, so we're not really on lockdown. We've never been on lockdown. The only things that have really shut down are like schools, universities, and couple like clubs, like festivals,
like real and gyms probably and whatnot.
Yeah, stuff like that. But like the shops are open, you can go for a walk. You could still go and have a drink like at a restaurant.
Namibians are hitting you right now.
I was teaching a yoga class, and like halfway through, I was like, guys, I'm really No, in the beginning, I was like, guys, I'm really hungover. It was like a live yoga class. I'm like, I'm really hungover. So like, forgive me if I'm a little bit slow paced today. And someone in the comments was like, we are craving that hangover, girl. And my family.
Now, what I want to ask you is, coming from Namibia, which is a predominantly Christian society, it's going to be a little bit of a crazy question, but let's see how it goes. And then going to a place like Cambodia, which is, as you said, predominantly Buddhist, is there a big change in the people and like the interactions of people with each other that you can see just by those two factors, not really anything else, but just in the... Could you just emphasize or just give us a little bit more info on that?
So I don't want to like really say that the way the people are here versus back home is a result of religion or spiritual beliefs necessarily, or spiritual practices, because Buddhism isn't a religion, it's a practice. But I want to say that in Namibia, we're definitely more westernized than the people over here. The people over here have learned how to integrate Western culture, obviously as a result of colonialism and all of those things. But like, they've learned to integrate Western culture, but you can see their culture and their spiritual practices everywhere, in everything. You go into a shop, best believe they have their what do you call it, an altar for their ancestors. They've got it set up. They've got their offerings on there. Damn. They've got their incense burning. You go into a shop, you go into a freaking Khmer-owned restaurant or bar, you'll find an altar.
Yeah.
You will find an altar.
That's crazy, yo.
Right. I mean, imagine being in Namibia and frequenting, like just going to like a shop or a bar or a restaurant, and you see there's an altar revering ancestors.
That's gonna be wild.
Yeah. So I would have loved to grow up in that, where we are openly acknowledging our ancestors, openly giving them offerings, openly practicing gratitude and all of those beautiful things. So that's what I really love about the way the Khmer people live. They live their spirituality. And so I want to say, but like Namibian people are generally very peaceful, to a fault. And I
get you.
I can't really go ahead and say we are peaceful people, but then every day there's a woman being raped or killed. You know what I mean? So I don't really know. I feel like the people over here are more peaceful. Crime, in my experience, a lot lower. I don't get catcalled here. I don't get groped here. I've been here for almost 4 months now. I haven't got catcalled once. I haven't been looked at with lustful eyes once. I haven't been groped once. And I've spoken to a lot of other women who've come from Southern Africa that live here, and even African American women that live here. Mm-hmm. Same thing.
Now, would you say, because I find that very interesting, and why I say I find that very interesting, and this is something that I always try to allude to, is the way that the West or Western media portrays, Asian countries or the Eastern world is very much, for me, the same way that a lot of Western media has portrayed Africa in the past. It's this is how the people are, and you should believe us. But once you get there, because as most people should probably know, Cambodia has always been shown as like a sex capital of the East, and what's going on there is like, children porn and all these things. But like, once you get there, like, of course, any country in this world has the pits of the pits. I mean, that's just a given. But once you get there, to say that like you've been there for 4 months, you haven't been catcalled not once. I know for a fact when you're in Windhoek, you get catcalled on the daily. Like, you could be walking to the store from your house, which could be a 20-minute walk, and you're at least gonna get catcalled like 5 times in that walk. So to be in a totally different part of the world, and not once in 4 months to get catcalled, that's crazy. It's just, in my mind, I don't see how that's a possibility because of what the Western world has said about Cambodia over and over and over again. So would you say, my question in this is, would you say that it is important to not only Africans, but to individuals all over the globe to really go and travel and see for themselves what's happening, as opposed to taking, expert advice on what's happening? Would you say that's a fair statement?
100%. Before I came here, obviously I did my due diligence. I read blogs, vlogs, and all of that stuff. And the one thing I've realized consistently is that a lot of these blogs and vlogs and stuff are by like Westerners. And how can I say this without?
Nah, say it with it. Say it with it. Fuck them. Say that shit.
It's drenched in Western privilege. You know what I mean? It's not written from an authentic experience. It's drenched in Western privilege. Like, first of all, when you go to a different country, you travel in general. You travel with an open mind and an open heart.
Yeah.
Secondly, you don't go into somebody's house, space, home, country, whatever, and start disrespecting and criticizing every single thing that they do. That's just disrespectful. And that's a lot of the stuff that I've been reading, or that I'd read before I came here. And I was like, I was sad to not maybe have like a lot of like blogs and stuff written from the Khmer perspective, from the local people here. But like, I follow a couple of like Instagrammers that are Khmer based, and like I've met a couple of friends who are Khmer, and like just seeing like how they live and like how they do things, and versus what I've read on blogs, like the lies I've read on blogs, and like my personal lived experience and reality, plus like the reality that I've like heard firsthand from my people. It's like two completely different things. But also I realized that you cannot you see, like, I feel like Africa and Asia are very, very similar. So,
definitely.
You know what I mean? In the way that we do things, even if you go to like home affairs here and home affairs at home, you can see, man, our people they come from the same. You know what I mean? Like Africans and African people are like, we're generally really like, we're very chill. It's very like, we're not really like in this rat race situation. Whereas Westerners feel like if I go to home affairs now, I must get help now, and I must be greeted with a smile, and I must be greeted like this, and what. Whereas us from an African background, I'm like, I go to home affairs with a book, with a bottle of water, because I know
Sometimes you just drive past the building and be like, how long is the line? Let me look at the line first. Let me see the line.
You know? So I don't think that we can really take everything in general. We can't, I'm never going to read a blog or a vlog or a newspaper or anything, religious text or whatever, and take it to be 100% absolute truth.
Absolute. Mm-hmm.
We always have to use our discernment. And I think especially so when you're reading something that comes from a Westerner's perspective versus something coming from an African perspective. Because if you watch blogs about living in Asia from the Black perspective, and specifically Cambodia from the Black perspective, and you watch it from like the white perspective, it's completely two different, or the Western perspective, it's two completely different perspectives.
But it's two different experiences as well. Would you say that's a fair statement? And why I ask this is because for me that's how I recognized it when I was in China. It was like as a Black person in China, and you have white friends that are in China, it's not the same. We're not living the same experience. Even though we go into the same classes, we're getting on the same subway, all that, it's not the same lived experience. You just don't see it the same because you don't live it the same.
100%. And like the thing about Cambodia, and like specifically being a Black woman in Cambodia, is like there's maybe 8 to 10 Black women here, including myself. There's a lot of African men here, especially West African men.
Okay.
But to see a Black woman is very, very special over here. Very special. They've never seen hair like ours before. They've never seen curves or bodies like ours before. So it's a very special thing, especially like the local Khmer people. Like they respond with a lot of astonishment when they see me or other Black women that I've like moved around with here. You know, it's always like they always stop. They always compliment your hair or your body or there's just, you look in their eyes and it's like they're witnessing something special.
Okay, so you see that's what I find totally weird now, because so they're not just out there trying to take pictures of you slightly and all that, you know, and they must be. Come on, they must be.
Wow.
They must be. Because in China, these motherfuckers weren't playing around, bro. They dead on be like. Now, Beauty, let's talk about your poetry, right? Now, I remember, when was the first time I saw you on stage? 2013, 2012, somewhere around there.
Yes, 2012.
Was the first time I saw you on stage. Now, you've moved from, as we would call it, traditional, just writing poetry. You've done more or less also like almost a movement like mine, from writing, just normally writing, to then actually getting onto a spoken word stage, and then from a spoken word stage being like, all right, let's get into the booth. Now, who was it that inspired you, or what inspired you, if it wasn't a who, to be like, you know what, I'm gonna move my poetry into the musical sphere and be like, let me see what I can do on a beat. Let me drop some bars.
So I can't remember what inspired me to start doing spoken word or performance poetry, but like at the time it was my first year at university, and I'd signed up for drama, and part of drama is like voice and speech. So we did a lot of we learned how to perform poetry. Yeah. And I think it was either one of my lecturers at the time or one of my classmates who was like, do you know about this thing called spoken word? And I was like, no. And they're like, wow, there's this thing called spoken word, and you absolutely have to, I think was it the time of auditions that time? I think it was before spoken word started doing auditions or whatever. Okay. But it wasn't auditions per se, but I remember Oshi, rest in peace and power.
The blessed one.
Yeah. I remember Oshi always wanted to just hear what you were going to do. She didn't, it wasn't necessarily auditions at the time. Yeah. And so somebody was like, oh, do it, and here's the contact and whatever. And I remember the time that everyone was supposed to go do their piece or whatever, I was traveling to Swakop. So I told Oshi, I really want to do this, but I'm leaving now. What can I do? Can I send you a voice note? She's like, no, she wants to see me. We met up at Louis Buerta in the parking lot.
And you dropped it right there.
Yeah, she's like, go, do it. And she was like, you're in, wonderful. and I did my first spoken word, but I can't remember. So it was kind of like people being like, you should try this thing out. But when I got to spoken word and I saw the other poets, I saw Nunu and I was blown away. And I thought to myself, that is it. You know, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get you.
Yeah, I knew I would never, it wasn't like, that's what I want to do, or that's how I want to be, or that's how I want to do my thing. But I was like, that energy, that whatever she's doing, I like that.
And she exuded it. She really exudes that energy when she's on stage, when she's just speaking to you at the bar. It's literally like the same flow of like her cadence and everything is like exactly this. Like, what the fuck? Are you still performing?
Amazing.
What's going on?
She's so amazing. She's so amazing.
I would just like to say, you know, rest in power to Ush, like a great creative, a great person, a great soul. She helped so many people get on the spoken word stage and really get out there to express themselves to their full capabilities.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so she was a great person. Furthermore, on your poetry journey though, when you decided.
Wait, before you go to the next question, I wasn't done answering the previous one.
My bad.
Yeah, and then there was a time where I was doing spoken word for a while, and then I kind of like dropped the ball. And I remember having a conversation with you, who you've also been one of my greatest inspirations. I'll tell you exactly the conversation you're going to remember.
Thank you.
We were at Garlic and Flowers, and you asked me what's going on, why haven't I been to spoken word or something along the lines, and I was like, I don't really know. I feel really insecure about my poetry, and you're like, so? I think you said something to the lines of like, so what? Just go and keep doing it, and the more you do it, the more secure you'll feel in it.
I think I remember this carnival. We were chilling there by the tree where I always like to dance on that rock. That was my rock.
Exactly.
Man. Whenever I got drunk, it was me dancing on top of that fucking rock. But yeah, I remember that convo, and I actually remember what I said to you. What I said to you was, it doesn't fucking matter if you're insecure or if you think it's not good enough. It will be good enough the more you do it. That's what I said to you. Yeah, I remember that convo because it was something I said to myself all the time. It was like, yo, man, don't worry if nobody likes this thing. Not one person has to clap in the car. It's fine.
Yeah.
Go out there, deliver this fucking thing to the best of your ability so that the next time you do it better. The next time you do it, you do it better.
Yeah. So
damn, you remember that?
Yeah. I have very good memory. I have very, very good memory. So definitely you. So you and Nunu, and I think especially you with transitioning from the poetry into the music or combining the two. Definitely you, Akua Naru.
Damn, you're gonna put me up on there.
And Common.
Shit, alright, damn. Yeah. Look, I'm not gonna complain about being put in that category with those people. Fuck, who the hell's gonna complain about that shit? You know. And now that brings me to my next question, right? From all the places that you've performed, you know, you've performed in a lot of places. You've performed on beat. You know what I mean? Like before you actually got into the studio, you decided to start doing your poetry with live music. Was that like a precursor that you knew you were using to get into studio and then, you know, do, because your tape also is not just, it's different. It's not a poetry tape, just solely a poetry tape. It's like a guided meditation through your mind, basically. Like it's very unique. Nothing like that has ever come out of Namibia. I don't actually know if anything like that I've heard of has come out of Southern Africa. So what was the precursor that led you to that journey of like, you know what, this is what I want to do with my different parts of me, you know, poetry mixed with, like, just talk to us a bit about that.
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much. That's the best thing I've ever heard anybody say about the Heal EP. It's you, and then Martha described it as like a music mantra.
Oh,
so those
damn,
those are my those are my top 2 favorite compliments ever about that project. So thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
So no, I never knew. Even when I think the first time I did like something on stage with somebody playing like an instrument or whatever, I never knew that I would ever get to the point where I was like, okay, I need beats, I need musicians, I need studio time, and all of these things, which were foreign concepts to me. I never knew that. But like the precursor for me was a very spiritual, deeply spiritual experience. I for obviously like we've discussed, and like because you know me personally as well, I explore a lot of different methods and avenues of healing.
Yeah.
And because like I know that we're not just a physical, we're spiritual. There's a soul body. There are like different forms of you. There's an emotional body. All of those things. So I like to experiment with different types of healing. So I actually went down the traditional healing path last year.
Okay.
Where, and I don't want to like speak on it too much because like, as like the healer described to me, it's like very sacred and all of that.
No, definitely.
Yeah. So I don't want to speak on exactly like what that process entailed too much, but I went on a deeply traditional spiritual healing. And right after what I want to call my spiritual cleansing,
okay,
right after that, I just got hit with this, with these songs and these poems. It just came from out of nowhere, and I wrote fiercely for like hours that night, and I just knew, like. I just knew.
It was like I gotta get this out. I gotta get this out right now. And that brings me to my question. Like, everybody has a different way or let's say a different ritual, some people call it, of getting into their writing, getting into that, putting themselves in that space or that zone whereby they feel most comfortable creating it. Do you have one of those, or how do you get yourself to, because as you said, you were fiercely writing for like 5 hours when coming out of something so spiritual and so uplifting and so different and cleansing for you.
Yeah.
But are there other times where you also just like, okay, does it just pour out randomly, or is it like, I need to sit, I need to light some incense, I need to do this, I need to do that? Can you talk to us a bit more about your creative journey in that sense?
So I believe that creativity is very, very tied and interlinked to spirituality. And because I'm such a spiritual person, and because I'm so deeply connected with my ancestors, I believe that creative ideas and energy comes from the ancestral realm or the spirit realm, whatever you want to call it, right? It's divine energy that is brought into this earth through people that we call artists or creatives or whatever. Myself being one of them. And first of all, and that's not an exclusive thing. Anybody can tap into creative energy at any given time. That's my personal belief. And so that being said, because I'm so deeply connected with my ancestors and I'm in constant communication with them and practicing my spirituality, they are always sending me poems.
Little gifts.
Yeah, they are always gifting me because I'm always open. So I'm ready to write any place, anytime. I could be in the club at 3 a.m. and an idea will come and I get my phone out, open the notes, and I just go. So for me, it's an anytime, any place type of thing. And I can also tap into it selectively. So I can also just be like, okay, today, for example, when I'm writing novels, like when I'm working on, like now I'm working on what I hope to be my second published novel.
Okay.
That requires some sort of discipline. So I can't just be randomly waiting. So the idea has already been sent.
Yeah,
The idea's already here. So all I had to do when the idea came was just write down, this is the basic storyline. These are the main characters. This is what's going to happen. This is how it's going to end. Now I need to be in the discipline of sitting down and being like, okay, you need to set apart time every day to at least write 500 words a day to this thing. So there is like an element of discipline that comes to it, like sit your ass down, it's time to write now. you know.
Yeah.
And this is kind of like also my message for other creatives is like, we need to take our craft seriously, as serious as a psychologist who studies a psychology degree for 4 years and then undergoes an internship where they have to work a certain amount of hours every day and they have to be tested and registered. Creatives also we have to cultivate that same discipline in our creativity. You know, we can't be all willy-nilly. We are waiting for motivation to come from God knows where and whatever. Like, sit the fuck down and just write something and come back to it later. So when the inspiration then comes, sit down with that piece and then use that inspiration that has now come to mold that piece into something greater. So I don't really have like a ritual or anything, because I'm always practicing.
Ritual, basically. You're living the ritual. It's always there. It's always on. I got you.
Exactly.
Okay. Damn, man. Now that made me forget my next question, because it was like, oh, okay. So, but you've actually answered the next question, which is, what would be the one piece of advice that you would give to a creative, up and coming, you know, person that's trying to, in any field? But you've literally just answered that. So now I'm gonna go to the scripted questions. You see, none of these were scripted questions yet. So we've been a conversation, and we're at an hour. Like, this is gonna be a crazy editing session. So the first question I'm gonna ask you is the most important question of the entire interview for me. And every interview is the most important question. I think I know your answer, but like nobody else probably knows. All right, supervillains versus superheroes. Which side are you on, and why? Also, like anti-heroes, like the Deadpool them and Wolverine them, they all go to villains. They go to villains. They're not heroes. They're not good guys. Let's not lie. They're all assholes. So you gotta choose a side and just let us know why. Why that side?
Supervillains because they are dedicated, and they will stop at nothing for their cause. You know what I mean? For me, a real life supervillain is somebody like Malcolm X, by any means necessary. They're killing us, so we're gonna kill them. I'm not trying to be the bigger person. I'm trying to fucking survive. I'm trying to have my kids survive. Gotcha. You know what I mean? So by all means necessary. In X-Men, what's the guy? Is it Magneto?
Yeah. Magneto, my homie. He a villain, yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. He understands what needs to be done in order for his people to be safe. For his people to survive. The enemy isn't thinking about being the bigger person and who's got the most love and empathy, and no, love is not gonna stop people from killing us when they're trying to gun us down every day. No.
You know that as Africans for sure.
Exactly. So I'm supervillains all the way, baby. That
was a great answer, to be honest with you. Like, fuck, that is a great, because you're right, they are very dedicated. The storylines are way more intricate, you know. I think as humans, they're a lot easier to relate to, as you know. Yeah. But superheroes is always going to be like, oh no, you came down from the sky, from like another universe, and like Thor, yay, some shit. But no, so I totally get your answer. The next question I'm going to ask you, question number 2. Let's see which one I'm going to go with. There's actually a third one, but I don't normally ask people it. So during this time, because you're stuck in Cambodia, you know, and you went there for a purpose, and the purpose was supposed to be done and you were supposed to be back. How are you going about being able to sustain yourself during this lockdown period, knowing that you were only supposed to be there for a while? So of course you didn't have enough money for 18 months in Cambodia. You know, you only went there for a little while. So could you talk to us a bit about how you're actually able to survive out there and still, you know, be as awesome as you are in these difficult times?
Okay. So a couple of years ago, I heard the term digital nomad for the first time, and I was so intrigued. But at the time, I was doing my clinical psychology degree, so I was committed, and I needed to finish my degree. I wanted to finish my degree.
Yeah.
But I was interested in this thing. I heard it from a woman named Ari, and she has a whole website. It's called Learn with Ari. She's amazing. Anyways, I think I heard the term from her for the first time. And I DM'd her on Twitter and I asked her, what is this? I want to know, what are you doing? Because at the time she was traveling Southeast Asia with her toddler, and I was like, I want to do that with my son. So I DM'd her and I asked her, like, what is this about? What's the tea? And she's like, somebody who would better be able to explain is somebody who's called Black Digital Nomad on Instagram.
Okay.
So I started following her story and I saw, I might not have my facts 100% correct, but that's how I learned about TEFL, which is teaching English as a foreign language.
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay. And before that, so then that happened. Let's put a pin in that. That happened. In that one. So there's a digital nomad thing that happened over 5 years ago. And then a while after that, I saw on Instagram that this woman who I studied yoga, who I did my yoga teacher training, we did it at the same time, or she was like one of the assistant teachers where I was in training.
Okay.
She posted something about like online marketing course that she was hosting. And I said, what is this? And I just told her, like, this is so interesting. And she's like, we have a scholarship up for grabs. I'm sending you the application link. I applied and I got it. So I learned how to move my work online. So I started offering my wellness coaching online and my yoga online, but I wasn't really taking it seriously.
Okay.
Until now, because now I'm forced to take it seriously.
You see, and that's what happens.
Yeah, and I don't even want to say forced. I feel like it's divine timing, divine alignment. Everything is just falling into place. Everything is already there for me. I just need to tap into it. I just need to let people know, hi, I do counseling online. I'm a wellness coach and I can coach you online. I teach yoga online. I can teach you how to meditate. I'm selling my 21-day self-love journal journey on my website. I have a plant-based guidebook coming out. You know what I mean? So I'm using my creative energy, my talents, my knowledge, my skills to come through for me in this time of like uncertainty. And to be honest, I feel like this was probably the boost that I needed to set me on the path of being a digital nomad, because I'm obsessed with traveling. I want to show my son the world. He's already doing a combination of world schooling and homeschooling. And plus I'm a qualified TEFL teacher. So like, who better, yeah.
It's like, why am I paying somebody else for this shit, bro?
Exactly. When I can educate and teach my son and give him even more knowledge in a safe space. Because we all know that traditional schooling can be bullshit.
It's rough,
but
man.
You know, all of those things are kind of falling into place for what I believe is my destiny in my work as a digital nomad and an international artist, because I also came here with the idea, like, I was going to do spoken word and then they canceled it because of all of these. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna have my first spoken word outside of Namibia, all of those things. But like, I'm still gonna get back on track with all of those things once things are not back to normal, but have realigned to fit the new normal.
Agreed.
So that's how I'm doing. That's how I'm sustaining myself. I'm hustling. And then also I get by with a little help from my family.
Now that brings me to two questions. I stopped smoking cigarettes, so like, you know, the body's reacting. So I cough at random fucking times. I'm like, damn it, I hate this shit. But
it's not that Rona, is it?
Nah. We've been tested. We're good out here.
Okay.
Also, I was social distancing since before this fucking shit hit down, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll just keep staying at home then. Fuck it, you know. But what I wanted to say is, so the term digital nomad, I'm actually very familiar with. You actually have met one in real life that was in Namibia. Malkovich. That is what he does. He is a digital nomad. He's always been since like, that's how he started the one bag journey. Because if you think about it, he does all of his business internationally while he travels with that one bag of his. So yeah, he's a digital nomad. That's how I came across the term first. First time I came across it, and he gave me like so much material. So I know exactly what you mean by digital, and it is an online hustle. That's basically, it's like saying, yo,
You're
man, I'm gonna
hustling
take my
for that.
entire toolbox of skills and talents and I'm gonna fucking make money, bro. Like I'm gonna sell it like it's crack.
Exactly. And you know what, like the beautiful thing is right now about my specific situation, schools are shut down almost everywhere in the world, meaning obviously the people who have access are doing online schooling.
Yeah.
And guess who is a qualified English teacher?
That's what I'm saying. And also with that certificate, because so when I was in China, I knew a lot of guys that actually had that TEFL certificate from the US, from South Africa, from different places in the world. Actually, my ex-girlfriend or ex-girlfriend that I was dating when I was there, she was teaching English in China, saving up to do her master's degree. So, yeah, you get paid.
You actually were one of the people who told me about looking into that when I said I really want to travel, I really want to do this, I really want to do that. I remember you actually sent me a message about
because you make mad money that way. You can make a good shit. Like I know, like the girl I was dating was making like something like after deductions and everything. Like that was just like
insane. It's insane.
Like, what? The
I
fuck
know.
you mean? And like it was really crazy. But but I say that to say that I don't think enough, or would you say enough creatives are looking at all of the things that are available to them and then making an informed decision, or are they just going with, oh, my friend's doing this, so I'm gonna do it, or I heard are they really doing enough research? Do you think creatives are doing enough research to be able to maximize what they can do with their talents?
I'm gonna say no, because I myself don't. Let me tell you something, especially like Namibian creatives. I know back home we complain a lot about not having enough support and love for the arts and all of that stuff, but we can be caking it if we just tapped into all these different opportunities out there. There are grants for creatives.
Yep.
If you go online and you look, people will pay you to write articles for their magazines, residencies. They will pay for your flights. They will pay for your accommodation. I mean, in any area of your life. Like, I mean, I got a yoga scholarship. I got a full scholarship to go and learn how to teach yoga.
Yep.
I've been paid to write for magazines all over the world. 500 words.
It's nothing. I can do it in my sleep.
Exactly, 500 words is nothing. There are people who will pay you if you have like a manuscript of a novel. There are scholarships for that. Not scholarships. There are grants for that. They will pay you for your manuscript. There's another scholarship that I saw that essentially you have to send them in like a certain amount of words contributing to your novel. And they pay you every time you submit words. They pay you for your words.
Literally get paid for the word.
I've heard of artists being given grants for a whole year to sustain your accommodation, food, whatever, your livelihood for a whole year, just so that you can create for a whole full year and rehearse with your band.
Yeah.
It's insane. I'm signed up to this. It's called Creative Writing News. So I get emails whenever there's an opportunity for writers. And another beautiful platform to look at is opportunities for Africans.
Boom, you're just plugging them out here. You're giving these people. You see, this is what I'm talking about. You're helping these creatives. Keep going. So for me, it's just a thing of, I think people just like to be spoon-fed a lot, especially as not just creatives, but as Namibians in general. I actually had an argument with somebody on Twitter where they were like, yeah, you know, you got a scholarship, but the scholarship should come to us in the village. And I'm like, my guy, when I was in China, right, I was the only Namibian in my entire university. But I had 15 Kenyans in the university, 7 of them which were in my freaking class. And all of them came from different walks of life. You know, none of them were privileged. These guys came from different villages, went to the main town where the embassy was to go find out, are there scholarships for I want to study? Why do we feel so entitled? And I say that to say that these opportunities that you're talking about are not new. These sites didn't just come up yesterday, you know? They've been out there, but as creatives and as just people in general, we like to be led instead of you know, being out there first. So for you, and again, I say all of this to say the fact that you took that initiative to push further and be like, hold on, I know if there's a thing like a digital nomad, there must be something else for me as well, and built a repertoire on how I'm going to survive. So like really big ups to you for all of that. You like the hustler of all hustlers. You're showing people how to do it out here.
And like, I mean, I must say, like, I don't want to ever speak for any other person. Like, I can only also speak for myself. Like, but like, and I am a very privileged person. Like, I'm a very privileged Black person. And oh wow, this light is like insane right now. Do I look like a ghost? Because I look like a ghost over here. I'm trying to okay. So obviously, like, people have different struggles in their lives, and you know, for some people it's easy to even get out of bed. For other people, it's a challenge to get out of bed. A lot of people are also like feel very defeated by their situations, and that's okay, because like life is hard, and like the systems that are put in place makes life harder for a lot of us, you know, especially if we're coming from previously disadvantaged backgrounds and people who are currently still in those situations, you know what I mean? But my message is mostly for creatives who are in a place of privilege, because I mean, a lot of the creatives that I know personally are not underprivileged, you know, are not living in poverty. We have access to information. A lot of us have smartphones. You can apply for a lot of these things from your phone, the same way you use your phone to scroll Instagram and watch stories and make TikTok videos and all of that stuff. We can do it. We have the access, and you know, if anything, we should be the ones who are paving the way. And sort of like, you know, I know you are one of those people who definitely, like, you shared your experience with the scholarship and you've told people about it who have asked and all of that stuff, you know. And at the end of the day, like, you can apply for somebody, but like, let's face it, nobody's going to take the time to sit down and fill out a whole application form for somebody else. Nobody's going to do that. It's already a lot of work. Like, shit, I don't even want to do that shit for myself.
Exactly.
I'm not going to sit down and do it for the next person. But I hear what you're saying. Like, there have been a lot of initiatives that I've even been a part of directly, or I know that like people really close to me have been a part of, where we try to provide like one of those things where you try to help somebody apply for something or give them, you know, bring the thing to them or whatever it is. And a lot of people just don't show up. And like, I also understand that, because when you are living in a destitute situation, it's very difficult for you to even believe that you can try, that you will get the scholarship, that you will get this opportunity, because a lot of these things are painted in a light that like makes it seem like you can only get this thing if you went to Delta Primary School, or you can only get this thing if you went to UNAM, or if you went to UCT, or whatever the case is. And it's not like that a lot. So there's a lot of misinformation and stuff like that. And I do think it is up to us, like, who are in better situations, to try and get the information at least out there. And, you know, like, just to try and get the information out there. But at the end of the day, there's also, you know, you can also only do so much. But what I'm basically trying to say is, I understand the people who don't apply for these things and go for these opportunities, because it's easy to feel defeated in a society that is always trying to defeat you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been From the Jump. This is Sage Smoke, also known as Beauty, the one and only. Thank you for coming through.
Thank you so much, Nico. This was such an absolute pleasure.
I know people are going to learn a lot from it, so no, thank you. This has been your interview. I'm just a facilitator, you know what I'm saying?
Nothing more than an ill-conceived fantasy. You see, I constantly think about one, yet seem to dream about another, making it almost impossible to visualize myself being with